This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
San Antonio Spurs Nation, what is up? It's your boy Rob from buckingspurs.com. So much to talk about. All-Star Weekend is in front of us. The Rodeo Road Trip just started. But more pressing is the trade deadline, which is, I'm recording this on Wednesday afternoon. Trade deadline is Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 2 p.m. my time, Central Standard Time. So, let's get into it. Let's drop this beat.
I need a little bit more dose of nasty. I'm seeing a little bit of unconfident, a little hesitation. It's not supposed to be easy. Every round gets tougher. Penetrate hard. Good passes. Shoot with confidence. I want some nasty.
Let's start off with the trade deadline. Trade talks. Spurs are in them. First time in a while. I think we have to take a look at ourselves in the mirror and ask ourselves as an organization, who do we want to be right now? I think that's more of the question. It's not about losing games or winning games. I mean, we want to win games. We do not want to lose games. We are the San Antonio Spurs. We retool. We don't redraft. Or rebuild, I'm sorry. We don't tank. We build through the draft. We build through development. And we're ready to go. We have a lot of young players that are ready to have their opportunities. And, this past offseason, we kind of geared up with vets. We geared up with Trey Lyles. We brought back Rudy Gay, who is someone I want to talk about a little bit more later. But he is also being mentioned in the trade rumors right now. So Rudy Gay is being mentioned. Marco Bellinelli is being mentioned. And DeMarre Carroll, the Spur mystery. I hope San Antonio does a mini 30 for 30 on what happened with DeMarre Carroll, because he's someone that we signed in the offseason. I was so excited. I was like, 3-and-D, baby. Another wing player. Absolutely, man. We need it. Like, we can't just keep banking on Rudy, even though Rudy had a great season. Like, we can't, I thought, okay, we have depth now. We have veteran depth. We have a guy that can help us. Man, but he hasn't even been able to crack the rotation. Why, bro? Why? It's such a mystery. But he's one of the ones that are most definitely going to be gone. And here's my thing when it comes to trade talks concerning the San Antonio Spurs that don't have to deal with DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge, right? We're talking about all these ensemble players. We are talking like if, hey, we plan to re-sign LaMarcus, we plan to re-sign DeMar because we're willing to get rid of the other veteran players around them and bring in new players to better fit around them. And so to me, I think that's a risk. That's a gamble because there's, like I've said before, there's a scenario where we don't have DeMar or LaMarcus. So, but it seems to me like that's what we're trying to do here. Lonnie Walker is starting to get his minutes. His minutes have actually gone up dramatically. Obviously, he didn't get any in the beginning, and he finally earned some, and then he earned some more, and then the Houston game, and then just, he has games too where he doesn't play all that much or he struggles. That's fine, but he's getting his minutes as he should. And here's my thing. It's just like, are we going to trade DeMarre Carroll Marco Bellinelli and Rudy Gay for more veteran players? Or do we start giving opportunities to these young guys like Keldon Johnson, Chimezi Mitu, some of those dudes, that are ready to play? I don't know. I think right now at this moment, if you're the Spurs organization and if they want to keep DeMar and LaMarcus, now that LaMarcus shoots more threes, it opens everything up and it really does make everything okay. It's like, how where everybody in Spurs Nation world was in a panic mode before, like, oh my God, it's just not going to work. LaMarcus and DeMar is so much mid-range. It's like, man, it's just so much mid-range game, It's like, can we shoot some threes? You know what I mean? Even though we let the league in efficiency, if your point guard doesn't shoot threes, which Derek White didn't last year, and DeJounte Murray doesn't this year, and LaMarcus and DeMar DeRozan, your next two best players, don't shoot threes, it was just like, dude, like, what year are we in? I think it works if the personnel is right. But LaMarcus stepping out to that three-point line really does just make all of that go away. It really does. It makes us a completely new team. With the ability for him just to step out there and defenders now have to respect his shot, just changed our whole offense. And we've been playing so much better when that started happening. DeMar DeRozan's having a great year, once that started happening. So once we made that shift. And anyways, back to the trade deadline, there really hasn't really been any names out there that have interested me, which means that, okay, are we trying to trade for assets? Are we trying to trade for picks? Are we trying to trade for what? What are we trading for? It's again, it goes back to that initial question. You have to ask yourself, who do we want to be next year in the near future? Because we're sitting on this little gold mine of youth and talent in Quindary Witherspoon and Luka Samanic, and Lonnie Walker deserves a bigger role and he's earned it. So a lot of these young guys, Drew Ebanks, man, I don't know. Derek White needs to take a little bit more. Anyways, this trade deadline's in front of us, and those are the three pieces that have been out there. I feel mixed about Rudy Gay. I understand last year he had a great year for us, right? He did. He really did, man. He had a great year for himself, right? He had a career season. He got a new contract, pretty damn good one. He earned it. Had a great year. I don't know what's going on this season, though. He's been missing. He's been MIA. He's not a guy that changes the game when he enters. He's more of a guy that when he enters the game, I'm wondering, oh man, I hope he's on, because if he's off, he's gonna take 4 or 5 jumpers in a row, maybe make one of them, and he's like that, but when he's on, you hope he's on, because then he starts going to work, but it's just been few and far in between with Rudy, and a lot of that I think is minutes. He just doesn't get that much, I feel like, or when he does play, it's hard to really know that he's on the floor. So I don't know. I mean, he got a great new contract, and if you ask me if he's living up to it right now, playing up to it, I would say no. But does that mean I want to trade him? Not really. I mean, we saw what he can do in the playoffs. We know, he's a guy that you can rely on. Last play of the game, last offensive or defensive possession, you can leave Rudy in the game if he's playing well. So it's a mystery, though. Again, what do we want to be? Do we want to be a team that has all these veterans and are playing all these veterans like Patty Mills? Like, Patty Mills needs to be around, but I'm not saying I want to trade him. I don't. But Patty Mills is a guy that we've relied on all season, has been our third best player all year long. And against LA last night, the Lakers, he started off like 0 for 6, 0 for 8, and we struggled early, and usually that's not Patty. Patty's been balling out all year long. But when it comes to Marco Bellinelli and DeMar Carroll, those are shooters. Shooters are valuable. Shooters are assets, depending on what their contract's like. DeMar Carroll's a great trade package. I think if you look at his stats last year, I mean, he can play. It's just I don't think the minutes are there for him here, I guess. You know what I mean? Just in San Antonio, there's no minutes for him. Not with the minutes that have to go to Lonnie Walker now. So Keldon Johnson's young too and ready. So it's just like, do you give your minutes to DeMarre Carroll, a player who's never been with the Spurs, or do you give them to your, first round draft pick who has all the potential in the world, you know what I mean, to blossom and it's going to come play for you for the next 10 years, So, those are questions we have to ask. So I understand why DeMarre Carroll should be moved. I think there's a lot of teams out there that should want him because he's on a 2-year deal. It's not like he's going to opt out next season, so we really do have to move him. But move him for what? I'm interested to see what the San Antonio Spurs do. Marco Bellinelli is another guy who provides shooting. I feel like Marco and DeMarre Carroll fit really well maybe in a Philadelphia, right, type of team, a team that needs shooting right now to kind of get over the hump of Portland. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. A couple of these young teams. I don't want Portland to get better, right? No, that's blasphemy. I don't need Portland to get better. I don't need Memphis to keep balling. I don't need Phoenix to just kind of make a turn and start winning games. Sacramento all of a sudden gets hot, makes a trade for Kuzma, and sends off Bogdanovic, and then Kuzma has a career year and makes the playoffs in the AC. I don't need any of that. I need San Antonio Spurs, the San Antonio Spurs, to gear up because we're going to try to win. We're not going to try to lose. So this offseason's interesting because there's pieces that need to go. There's pieces that need to move because young talent is ready. If we trade DeMarre Carroll and Marco Bellinelli, I can't wait to see, a Luka and Keldon get more minutes, or Witherspoon and Keldon get more minutes, or Drew, or any of these young guys, because they're ready, man. Like, these young guys are ready, and that's the position that we're in. How long do we keep talent in the G League, to develop? I know it's as long as it takes, but hey, man, San Antonio and Austin, we're at that time right now as an organization where we need this influx of youth and talent to pay off and this development to pay off. And I know these first-year guys, man, these first-year guys are impressive, man. If you haven't seen Quindary Witherspoon play, you're missing out. If you haven't seen Keldon Johnson play, you're missing out. If you haven't seen Luka Samanic, film room, you have no idea that this guy's going to be a special player that's going to play in this league and make us so much better when he's able to get those minutes. So we have all this youth. Chemezi is ready to go. Drew Eubanks is ready to go. And Lonnie Walker can get an uptick of minutes, if you ask me, maybe from I think he's averaging around 11 to 13 or something right now minutes. He can go up to 20. He can go up to 20 minutes, 18, right there with Patty Mills, someone like Patty Mills and DeMar. He can play that much. So I don't want to trade Bryn. I'm going to leave that right there. Bryn is an asset. I don't want to give up shooting. I just think maybe he shouldn't start, but he provides a swagger that sometimes makes you so much better just to have him on the floor. But I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to get into Bryn. I'm going to leave it there. Trey Lyles has been playing really well too. Want to give a shout out to Trey and Jakob. Okay, so we're going to take a little break, and then when we get back, let's talk about the All-Star break and not having any Spurs in there. What is up, Spurs Nation? Cállate la boca, shut up, because you are listening to a Bucking Spurs podcast brought to you by BuckingSpurs.com and the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. I'm Robert Trejo Jr., your host of ABSP. Like the great GOAT, Coach Pop, would say, we're all about players who are over themselves and are about team success, as are we here at ABSP. So follow in the footsteps that the greatest big three to ever do it have laid down for us, otherwise known as the Spurs way. Be a true team player and subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast jam on. Get me open and nail that game-winning jumper by down screening on your phone now. And just like the Spurs with 5 golden trophies in that trophy case, rate this podcast 5 golden stars. The beautiful game that we all know and love can only manifest itself by collective effort of sharing that rock. So don't be a pod hog and share this podcast episode to the rest of Spurs Nation. You can do that by following us on YouTube for more Spurs content like drive-through Spurs takes and Spurs tacos and more. Of course, you can share and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, If you want to make the first team all BSP, go ahead and bookmark bookingspurs.com on your web browser now, where you can show your support and visit our fan shop for Bucking Spurs hoodies, tees, laptop sleeves, iPhone cases, and more. No Spurs in the All-Star game. Well, we're not winning. And I know it sucks to see Trae Young, there in the worst team in the league, starting in all. You have a guy that's on the worst team in the league in the Eastern Conference, and he's starting in the All-Star game. That doesn't make no sense to me. That makes no sense to me. But that's the Eastern Conference, and the West is what it is, and I don't disagree with it. I think that LaMarcus and DeMar DeRozan, if anyone should go, it's DeMar, right? But DeMar has only been playing well for about a month, for about a month and maybe a week or so. So it's fairly new what he's doing. I was hoping that maybe the coaches would get him in there, or maybe someone drops out, someone steps in. I hope if that's the case, like Luka, if he's hurt, I heard Luka Doncic is probably not going to play. So if he doesn't play, hopefully one of these dominoes falls DeMar's way. But definitely not LaMarcus. LaMarcus has not been playing at an all-star level. All the players that got nominated deserve it. Lonnie Walker should have been in the dunk contest, if you ask me. Shoot, I don't know. Other than that, who cares about All-Star Weekend? It's more important, I think, for us to get some rest. Now, if we're talking about Kobe and all the tributes that All-Star Weekend's gonna entail, it's gonna get emotional and that's gonna be good. I do care about that, but when it comes to actual All-Star Weekend, it's kind of, I don't know. Maybe it's different this year. But we're used to not really having Spurs in there. Usually we have one, but it's we don't get the limelight at All-Star Weekend. But usually we do have someone to represent us there, and to not have that this year is Okay, so other than that, that's all I want to say about that. When we get right back, let's talk about the Rodeo Road Trip.
After my first few episodes, some of my newfound fans called me a lore master, which was an honor and so epically cool. But the thing is, I desire to be known as the lore master. So, this is the tale of the rise of an epic podcast that critics say is redefining a genre. The tale of a man who decided that his calling in life was to give a future to the past. The saga of Arjun, your lore master. Come dream with me as we go deep into our stories. If you think you've been taken to a battlefield before, I assure you, you're mistaken. So take a deep breath, let it out slowly, put some smoke in the air if you choose, and prepare to let your mind flow to my voice as we go deep. Welcome to Deep into History, available everywhere.
We're 2-0 in this Rodeo Road Trip. We dropped one to the Clippers. Very good game, man. Great game. Patty Mills was just clutch, on fire. DeMar was doing DeMar things. Kawhi Leonard was out for blood, man. On Twitter, I remember posting, it's like, man, Kawhi looks like he's trying to get a steal every single possession that he's on ball. Like, he was getting after it on the defensive end. So it was a very tough game, very good game, and we played well, man. We played well in spurts. We've had two very bad third quarters in Los Angeles against both the Clippers and the Lakers. The Clippers came out and went on like an 8-0 run right in the beginning of the third quarter, and we had a 10-point lead, I think. So, or no, they tied it up. They took the lead. So it was I think a 12-0 run to start the third quarter against the Clippers. And then against the Lakers, we go down 19 at some point in that third quarter after hanging with them pretty tough for two quarters. We lay an egg in the third, and so that's been our Achilles heel so far on the road in this road trip. But hey, this All-Star break provides us a chance to reflect and gain new perspective on what we need to do, and we are playing well. It does seem like we're turning into a different team over the past month. We struggled so bad and through the first 25 games or so, and we're finally starting to make that turn. And luckily the West just isn't that good, and we can still make the playoffs, and I think that should be the goal, to make the playoffs. I don't want to miss the playoffs. I want the Spurs in there. And yes, I know last night we saw the Lakers play against the Spurs, and the Lakers dominated us in the third quarter and then just ran away with it. We ended up losing by 20 points or whatever it was, and that would probably be the first round matchup if we get the 8th seed. So hey, let's try to get the 7th seed, right? Maybe go up against the Clippers. I'd take that one. I'd rather take that one. I think the Clippers are for some reason they haven't figured it out yet, and they're struggling to figure it out, within the team. I feel like everyone's pointing fingers and whatnot. People just, I don't know, the whole Montrezl Harrell thing. And don't get me wrong, they're a bad team. But I'd rather play them than LeBron and AD for sure. But so far in this road trip, it seems that Jakob and Derek are going to be crucial. Those are our two probably best defenders on our team, and they come off the bench. And when they come off the bench, they do work. They do work. I think Derek White needs to start. I don't think DeJounte has shown us that he deserves to start at this point. Him and Derek White are kind of neck and neck when you look at them statistically. They split the minutes. They split the, every statistic is pretty much tied up, right? But there's something about Derek, when he plays, everyone else plays better. You know what I'm saying? Everyone else plays better. And then when he takes over, he can change a game. I haven't seen DeJounte Murray change a game yet this year. I'm still waiting, because I know he's capable of it, and it's not the question. I'm not here saying, oh, DeJounte sucks and hasn't done anything this year. No, absolutely not. We know DeJounte is capable of dominating, so it comes down to, when is he going to do it? How is he going to do it? I mean, because so far his mindset is to get everyone involved and to make sure the team is running well. And I understand that, because he's on the floor with DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. He's got to, maybe someone has to take that role. But to me, if DeJounte is able to dominate, it makes everyone else's job easier. It's going to make DeMar's and LaMarcus's job so much easier, but he doesn't really look to be aggressive. Very rarely does he look to be aggressive. And I haven't really seen him out in transition that much. As he started out the year, he started out the year really getting after it in transition. That's kind of turned down a little bit, but maybe that just comes with the fatigue of the season. Again, I understand it's his first season back on that knee, and it's going to take him some time. So I'm not trying to put some fault on him. I just think that, if he were to take over a quarter, the third quarter, right? Matter of fact, if he would have come out and just, look, I'm going to be aggressive here in the third, and then I'm going to start getting everyone else going, that could change everything for San Antonio. And hopefully we can get that going on this Rodeo Road Trip. Jakob is just a monster. He's just a monster. And then you see him against Charlotte with that Euro step. And did you see him he can play, man. He can finish. He can play on the offensive end. He's not a liability. We need to re-sign his ass is what we need to do, because if LaMarcus leaves, I wouldn't mind putting Jakob at the 5, and then, Lonnie, DeMar, Keldon, and DeJounte or Derek or something like that, a lineup like that, just, oof, man, it just sounds so dirty on the defensive end. Man, imagine if you had Derek White, Keldon Johnson, and Jakob Poeltl on the floor at the same time, bro. Oh my God. Then put like Patty Mills and LaMarcus or DeMar DeRozan in one of those other spots. Jesus Christ, that's a defensive juggernaut right there. So we're young. This is going to be a tough road trip in front of us, but there's opportunity in front of us. And I think DeMar said that last night. We're not just going to roll over and stop playing. We want to win. And I think we can win these games. Obviously, the last, 5 losses I think we've had. I think we're 5-6, 5-7 in our last 12 games, something like that. And, every time that we lose, we're losing by 4 points, 6 points, 2 points, so we're in all these games, man. That's what's hard. And that proves to you that, hey, we're trying to win, every time we go out there on the floor. But we make boneheaded plays down the stretch. We give up a 15, 16-point lead, 10-point lead against the Clippers. We start off slow in the third, and those are all the issues that are visible to us right now, that, hey, look, we can still address these. We can still fix this. We just got to buckle down and get it, and we can still go, guys. And we're only like a 4 or 5 game win streak away from being the 6th, 7th seed in the West, so it's just, we're lucky the West is bad. And if we miss the playoffs, we miss the playoffs. I really don't care. We fight for that spot. if we fight for it and at the last day of the season it comes down to Portland beating, I don't know, Memphis, you know, or Portland beating Sacramento or some shit for them to get that spot over us, and I can walk away saying, hey man, we tried our best to try to get a playoff spot this year. Now let's deal with the issues in front of us of free agency in front of us this offseason. So there's a lot to talk about, you know, moving forward, but right now the focus should be on the road trip and how we develop and how we start playing. Where do the minutes go? It's very interesting to see what happens after this trade deadline, because is Marco going to be with us still? You know, is Damari going to be with us still? But Damari wasn't getting any minutes in the first place. That's why it's like, okay, I don't want to bring in someone for Damari Carroll that's going to get minutes over Keldon Johnson or Chimezie Mutu. I don't want that. I think these guys deserve their shot. And in a season like this where we need all the help we can get and opportunity should be there, because players, the reason why we suck and we're not winning and we're not in the playoffs right now is because some players are underperforming, you know, and we have players that deserve opportunity to show that they can perform. Give him the chance. Lonnie earned his, and now look at him now. He's a guy that shows these flashes of being a great player for us. So we have a couple of guys like that, okay? I don't want to trade Damari Carroll for someone who's just going to eat up minutes unless it fills a void, you know, and we could talk about where our voids are, but at the end of the day, we're going with LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan, and it's about putting pieces around them to be successful until it's not, you know, and I think that's maybe the mindset of the Spurs. It's like they can't predict the future, but we got to prepare for all options, right? Okay, so that's gonna be it, guys. Make sure to check us out on YouTube. I've been dropping a lot of content there, a lot more stuff. I've been doing live chats on YouTube. Make sure that you click the description below on my YouTube videos, and you can tip and support Bucking Spurs. It's so easy. All you need is a PayPal account or whatever, and you can drop a tip. You can also submit a question for our super chat, live chat, to guarantee your question to be answered on the next live chat that we do on YouTube. Those are going to be dropping more consistently. Follow us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast. Jam on. We are there. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you're at on social media. We're there too. Support us by going to the Bucking Spurs shop at buckingspurs.com. That is where you can find all of our content. We're going to be all right, Spurs fan. Persevere. We can take a season of turmoil and trouble and adversity. Okay, we've done it before. You know what I mean? Like, we've had bad seasons where we lose in the first round. Usually we take our bad in the playoffs, not in the regular season, right? So this is new to us, you know, but we'll be okay. We're all right. Go Spurs, go. We'll catch you on the next episode.